Hollywood is a mega machine that produces many of the biggest films in history, it is not the only place where creativity and genius form amazing pieces of cinematic art. Countries like Italy, Russia, England, France, and more have had massive impacts on film styles and breaking open genres to give us films that both tantalize and engulf our imaginations. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 must-see foreign horror films. Number 1, The Orphanage. Not many films receive a 10-minute standing ovation at its premiere, but this one did. And even though it won 7 Goya Awards, this film did not get the accolades it deserved. The plot is kind of twisted as we see Laura, who was adopted from the orphanage many years before, returns to buy it and reopen it as a home for disabled orphans. She comes with her husband and adopted son, and shortly after arriving, things take a turn. Her son Simone meets an imaginary friend and tells this friend to come home with him. Well, this friend is anything but imaginary. Simone is sent on a treasure hunt so he can live forever as a child. And Laura doesn't take too kind to how this treasure hunt ends. There's tons of twists and turns, the tension is so thick, and you never really know what's going to happen. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, trying to remember this is just a movie. But go check it out for yourself over on Amazon Prime, Google Play, Fandango, and Apple TV. You will not regret it. Number 2, Martyrs, 2008. This is a film that incited walkouts during its premiere, and that's saying something. Everybody who has seen this movie has labeled it as either the most disturbing film or one of the best. A French film made during the French extremity movement, the director has been called nihilistic and deeply troubled, which just makes it even worse. I mean, who can stay in this mentality for so long? Alright, so the plot is a typical one of revenge, as our main girl, Lucy, wants to make her kidnappers and abusers pay for what they did to her. Her friend Anna is also a survivor from abuse. And yeah, we don't know how far this has gone on for either of them. Damn, Lucy is ready to take whomever she can to hell with her. She randomly goes to a house and shoots a family of 4. Then there are so many times where these 2 women are trying to fight their way out of this predicament. Somehow these people have gone on a rampage, going further in the wrong direction. I wish we could show more, but we can't, as this is horrendously graphic, and it's disturbing. I'm not going to spoil anything much about this film, as this is one you have to watch, if you so dare. But it has kept thousands of people awake, and many people still trying to figure out the ending. So, if you want to risk it, head over to Tubi, Apple TV, Plex, Google Play, and Fandango, or just search for it here on YouTube. Number 3, Audition. Takashi Miike has an interesting take on things, and can truly make you wonder what people are actually capable of, and the lengths somebody would go through to not be alone. Well, Shigeharu is a widower, and he has longing for a new wife, years after his previous wife passed. One night while sitting at a bar with a friend, he brings up the idea of wanting to be married again. His friend suggests an audition, where these women will come in and do it. So, Shigeharu ends up meeting one of the participants, and is attracted to her. They have a good evening, and he explains the film lost its funding. She's upset, but really likes him, and a typical relationship starts. but something is completely off about her. She leaves after a night of sex, then sits oddly on the floor for 4 days while waiting for dude to call. Eventually, she becomes obsessed with him, and he can only love her. Well, I can't say much, but boy is she psycho. There's a whole dream sequence too that just makes you wonder if what you're seeing is really how it's going, or if it's all just a hallucination. The ending is kind of grotesque as well, but it's worth the watch. Check it out over on Tubi, AMC+, Roku, Fandango, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 4, Ju-on, The Grudge. The Japanese really know how to fuck with your head, and the American remakes don't do the originals any kind of justice. In Ju-on, we learn of the original death at the house and what an onryo is. A vengeful spirit out to get anybody who enters the residence. This particular version follows 4 people and doesn't have a chronological flow to it. There's a lot of jumping around, but this works in the film's favor as you never know what's coming or when. The first chapter follows a social worker who is marked for death the second she steps foot in this place, and see just how bad she gets scared as time goes on. I mean, she isn't there for long, but to leave her in a petrified state? Ish. The story then follows other people, and we get to watch the story unfold in a different kind of way than we're used to. I mean, there's times where you question which time you're actually in. Like, you see a father and daughter looking at each other, but do they really see each other? Eventually, you realize they are seeing each other at the exact moment they are marked for death. But that croaking sound will always get me. Plus, the movements of the onryo just send shivers down my spine. I highly recommend watching this, and there's other films after this one. Ju-on the Grudge 2 and Ju-on the Curse. But it's a scare you never know you needed. Check it out over on YouTube, Google Play, and Amazon Prime. Number 5, Let the Right One In. Based on the novel by the same name, we see this adaptation look at the relationship between the main characters in a deeper sense. How young children can be so evil it makes you realize some are almost demonic. This film was also remade in America as Let Me In, which is still pretty decent, but can't hold up to our friends in Sweden. Following the same ideas for vampires, we take a closer look at Oscar, a 12-year-old boy who is relentlessly bullied, but never stands up for himself. He is often seen wanting revenge and has many thoughts on how to bring them to fruition. However, one night he meets Ellie, who's paler than snow with black hair and seems to be about his age. They befriend each other, and eventually you realize she isn't human. At one point, he's even questioning if she is a vampire, and her answer isn't what you'd expect. It's not a yes or no kind of answer either, but it's definitely different. With Ellie now longing for Oscar, she finds some pretty interesting ways to end his bullies. And she'll do it with a sadistic look on her face. The relationship between the two does evolve as the story progresses, and you really do hang on to your seat. So much tension, dark imagery, and the cinematography is absolutely brilliant. Swoop over to Peacock, Tubi, Roku, Pluto TV, Fandango, Flex, Amazon Prime, and Google Play to check it out for yourself. Number 6, Eyes Without a Face. Probably the most mild entry on this list, but still iconic. Well, it wasn't that big when it first released. It gained a following once it hit home video. And sure, it's in French, but the style of this film will have you in your feelings. It may not have the greatest acting or special effects, but give them credit because this was made in 1960. The plot is easy enough as we follow a plastic surgeon who wants to transplant a new face on his daughter, who was in a car accident and now has some deformities. His assistant is always on the lookout for a new face for the daughter named Christine. And they do find a good one. I mean, she is gorgeous, even by today's standard. But again, what you think can go wrong, will. Facial transplants weren't a thing, and still probably the hardest thing to do in plastic surgery. The face is rejected. And it's just gross how you watch it decay and eventually fall off Christine's already disfigured self. Well, the cops get wind of this problem and send somebody in to kind of investigate. But she too is stuck until our protagonist ends a nurse and frees our other girl. But this doctor gets what's coming to him, and I am just in awe with how his demise is carried out. It's a beautiful movie once you get away from all the death and mayhem. But go check this one out over on Max, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV. Number 7, Raw. A French film that was praised and held a lot of controversy and doesn't really fit your typical horror movie vibe. I am still shocked by what I saw and can't fathom having to deal with any of these situations. The breakdown is pretty simple as it almost feels more like a family drama a good chunk of the time, but it's not. Justine is a college freshman and just starting veterinary school. And like any college, there's a rush week. Most of rush is on the normal side, making younger classmen look down when near an upperclassman, being dragged out of bed, room tossed apart, what have you. The significant part is when the rush team forces the rushies to eat meat. And not just any meat, a raw kidney from a rabbit. Justine, though, is a vegetarian and has been sheltered when it comes to a lot of things. But her sister Alexia is really pushing her to continue on. That wasn't a smart idea, as the next day Justine wakes up with a horrible rash. And the scratching sound is almost too much. Then the cravings start for her, and things take a turn. At one point, Justine's best friend is in bed next to her, with his leg almost completely eaten and stabbed in the back with a ski stick. Like, what? There's some moments of just pure disgust, and it's not even that gory, but ew. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil the ending, as you really don't see it coming, and it explains so much, but watch it with an empty stomach. Fend for yourself and check this out over on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, and YouTube.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt, but we just launched our very own merch store at fatninja.shop. We sell everything from t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more, so we would greatly appreciate it if you checked it out. All the proceeds go to our future projects, so it helps us make any kind of movies and short films that we want to make in the future. So if you got time, check out fatninja.shop. Thanks again, and back to the video.
Number 8, Suspiria. We've covered this entry before in 10 body horror films, but still deserves a spot on this list, as it is something out of nightmares. Dario Argento does a fabulous job with this one, and the remake definitely creates something different. But the 1977 Italian film takes the cake. So, Susie is an American ballet dancer who gets accepted into an elite dance academy, and soon realizes that she may not belong here. The classes are so difficult. The way the teachers look at them and fuel them to continue on is just unsettling. Susie and other students are faced with fear at several times especially as we learn it's actually a coven of witches. And they're using the dancing as power. Later in the film, we get the epic dance scene, and one of the students is under a spell to copy our star, leaving a mangled body behind. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, as it's such a fitting finale. And yes, disturbing at times, but truly eerie. I'm totally infatuated with this one. So dance your way over to Tubi or Sling TV and let me know what you think. Number 9, The Devil's Backbone. Guillermo del Toro considers this his first film, as Kronos didn't turn out how he wanted, and Mimic, that was just a shit show for him, honestly. But he decided to give it another go, and we are ecstatic he did. This film is so beautifully told, yet has that ultimate get you in your fears kind of feel to it. We follow Carlos, who just recently arrived at the orphanage during the Spanish Civil War. As the stay continues, Carlos attracts the bullies and ends up in a cellar or a basement, I'm not really sure. But that's when we meet Santi, the spirit there. This is not your typical haunting, as Santi just wants revenge on one person, and that one person alone. Santi shows a caring side towards the boys, and is almost protective. It isn't until we meet another character that the story truly unfolds. I'm not going to reveal the ending, as it's marvelously depicted, and this is one I'm certain you will add to your roster. The special effects are phenomenally done, and the cast is just perfect. Check it out on Apple TV, Google Play, Fandango, and Amazon Prime. Number 10, Tenebrae. Dario Argento makes another entry on this list, and it's so deserved. He was a mastermind to the horror genre, and I don't think many can add up to him. This is one of those films that was actually banned until 1999, and I'm so glad they released it at all. The plot is basically, who's the killer? Alright, let's dive into it. So Neil is an author and just came to Italy to promote his book by the same name, and his ex-girlfriend follows him there. Shortly after the arrival, there starts to be some death using a straight blade razor. One after another drop, and you think you know who it is by midway through, considering this news anchor is absolutely enthralled by Neil's book. I mean, people are dropping all around them. Why wouldn't it be this person? The ending, though, is one for the books. I'm not going to tell you. You have to see it for yourself. There's so much blood, many deaths, and a serious mystery throughout the whole film. Definitely put this one on your watch list for a rainy day. You can check it out on Tubi, Plex, AMC+, Sling TV, Roku, Fandango, and Amazon Prime. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate that. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. Take care.